Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start our last afternoon segment, and that's the UK-Germany Technology Summit. And since we're running a couple of minutes behind schedule, with no further ado, I'd like to call Julian David, the CEO of Tech UK, on the stage.
Guten Tag, meine Herren, Damen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, State Secretary and Minister. Welcome to our session this afternoon, the UK-Germany Technology Summit. My name is Julian David, as you heard, and I am the CEO of the UK Technology Trade Association, Tech UK. And it gives me great pleasure to start our proceedings off today by inviting Herr Professor Dieter Kempf, President of my equivalent organization here in Germany, of Bitkom, to please come up to the stage and get us going. Professor Kempf.
Thank you, Julian David. Sehr geehrter Lord Livingston, sehr geehrte Frau Staatssekretärin Zypris, sehr geehrter Herr David, er ist gerade noch auf der Bühne, lieber Kollege, sehr geehrte Frau Shields, lieber Herr Frese, liebe Delegationsmitglieder aus dem Partnerland vom letzten Jahr, aus Polen, aber auch vor allen Dingen liebe Delegationsmitglieder aus der chinesischen Delegation, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich sehr, Sie hier auch auf dem deutsch-britischen Gipfel begrüßen zu können. Heute Morgen dürfte ich ja gemeinsam mit Herrn Kruchow, einem Vorstandskollegen der Deutschen Messe, auch die CeBIT Global Conference schon eröffnen. England und Deutschland, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, haben ja immer legendäre Begegnungen beim Fußball. Jetzt haben wir diese legendären Begegnungen beim Fußball auch noch eine legendäre bei der Bitkom beziehungsweise bei der CeBIT, anlässlich der CeBIT hinzugefügt. Lord Livingston, beim Fußball muss ich natürlich leider dezent darauf hinweisen, dass wir dann doch häufiger gewinnen als verlieren. Bei unserem heutigen Thema allerdings sind wir gemeinsame Partner. Beide Länder gemeinsam, Großbritannien und Deutschland, sind die Informations- und Kommunikationstechnologie-Schwergewichte in Europa, gemeinsam mit über 260 Milliarden Umsatz, doch ein ganz bedeutender Wirtschaftsfaktor. Großbritannien und Deutschland verbindet aber mehr. Man denke nur an Popmusik, nicht weit von hier, knapp 200 Kilometer von hier war, glaube ich, sowas wie die Geburtsstunde einer der wohl bekanntesten Popmusikbands der Welt, der Beatles. Und ja, eine 123-jährige Geschichte verbindet die beiden Länder ja auch noch, aber ich habe fast das Gefühl, Lord Livingston könnte in seiner Rede darauf auch noch eingehen, darum lasse ich diesen Teil jetzt weg. Erfolge können auf beiden Seiten die Unternehmen der Bitkom-Industrie verbuchen. Die Umsätze, ich nannte vorher schon die absolute Höhe, in beiden Volkswirtschaften konnten in den letzten Jahren kontinuierlich gesteigert werden. Und es gibt auch noch eine weitere Gemeinsamkeit zwischen den beiden Ländern. In beiden Ländern gibt es eine ungeheuer agile, eine ungeheuer aktive Start-up-Szenerie für Informations- und Kommunikationstechnologieunternehmen. In Großbritannien stärker konzentriert auf den Großraum London, bei uns mit einer Konzentration in Berlin, aber auch einer Konzentration in den Städten Hamburg, München und noch einer Reihe weiterer. Insbesondere mit Blick auf diese Start-up-Szenerie möchte ich auch Tech City UK hervorheben. Einfach dieses sehr erfolgreiche ITK-Cluster, diese Bündelung im Großraum London, das auf bemerkenswerte Weise Unternehmen der etablierten Industrie mit Start-ups zusammenbringt, aber auch mit der Politik zusammenbringt. Und hier sehe ich sehr viele gute Ansätze, die wir auch übernehmen könnten. Big Data und Cloud Computing sind in beiden Ländern Wachstumsmärkte, und so ist das Leitmotto der diesjährigen CeBIT Datability auch sowas wie ein Leitmotto für uns und unsere Zusammenarbeit. Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, die CeBIT bietet, wie ich meine, eine hervorragende Gelegenheit, um den Austausch zwischen den Ländern, aber auch die Handelsbeziehungen zwischen beiden Ländern oder den Unternehmen beider Länder auszubauen, zu fördern. Die CeBIT bietet auch guten Anlass, um politische, flankierende Themen auf politischer Ebene gemeinsam zu besprechen, gemeinsame Strategien zur Wirtschaftsförderung im Hightech-Bereich zu überdenken, zu diskutieren, zu vereinbaren. Großbritannien ist nicht nur ein wichtiger Partner der deutschen Politik, sondern auch natürlich ein unverzichtbares Mitglied des europäischen Binnenmarktes. Wir freuen uns, gemeinsam in diesem Bereich weitere wirtschaftliche Erfolge feiern zu können. Und wenn wir über gemeinsame politisch flankierende Themen reden, dann muss an der Stelle natürlich auch ein Projekt zur Sprache kommen, das uns intensiv beschäftigt in der Diskussion mit der Europäischen Kommission, aber auch mit dem Europäischen Parlament, nämlich der Entwurf einer Datenschutzgrundverordnung oder an anderer Stelle das Thema Telekom Single Market Package. Stellvertretend bei Ihnen, sehr geehrter Lord Livingston, möchte ich mich bedanken. Bei Ihnen, aber auch bei meinem britischen Verbandskollegen Julian David für die hervorragende Zusammenarbeit in der Gestaltung des Partnerlandes 2014 für die CeBIT. Das außerordentlich große Engagement, das Sie mitgebracht haben. Darüber hinaus gilt mein Dank auch Ron Archibald und Daniel Richstein von UK Trade and Investment, die zusammen mit Innovation and Trade Fair Support maßgeblich zur Planung und Realisierung dieses Vorhabens CeBIT Partnerland 2014 beigetragen haben. Wir freuen uns gemeinsam mit Ihnen auf eine weitere erfolgreiche Zusammenarbeit, nicht nur in dieser CeBIT-Messewoche, sondern natürlich weit darüber hinaus. Ich freue mich auf eine spannende, interessante Diskussion und auf erfolgreiche Geschäfte für alle, die hier als Aussteller auf der CeBIT 2014 sind. Vielen Dank und ich spiele Querpass zurück zu Julian David. Dankeschön.
Thank you, Professor Kemp. So it's my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. And our speaker has had a very distinguished career in a number of ministries, starting in Niedersachsen itself, but going through various federal ministries, and is now the State Secretary at the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy, here obviously in the Bundesrepublik. And I would like to introduce, please, our next speaker, which is Frau Brigitte Zypries.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ja, Lord Livingston, lieber Herr Professor Kempf, Frau Shields, Herr Davids, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, Ladies and Gentlemen. Ich freue mich, dass wir hier heute zusammen sein können bei diesem UK-Germany Technology Summit und uns gemeinsam austauschen können über die Frage, was können Deutschland und UK eigentlich noch besser gemeinsam machen? Denn ich denke, das ist eins der Ziele einer solchen Veranstaltung wie der CeBIT. Wir haben das Thema Datability als das große, überwölbende Thema hier auf dieser Veranstaltung und wir beide Staaten wissen, dass das die Technologie der Zukunft ist. Kein Lebensbereich kann sich dem Thema Digitalisierung entziehen und unter dem Stichwort Big Data ist das Schlagwort in aller Munde. Und jetzt haben wir mit Datability eben zu Big Data noch die Verantwortung dazu geführt und die Nachhaltigkeit dazu geführt, Themen, die gerade in Deutschland besonders wichtig sind. Großbritannien, meine Damen und Herren, hat den stärksten Markt in der IKT in Europa. Und im weltweiten Vergleich erreicht Großbritannien Platz 4. Deutschland liegt im Vergleich der 15 wichtigsten Standorte einen Platz hinter Großbritannien, auf Platz 5. Großbritannien war und ist für den Bereich der Informations- und Kommunikationstechnologie schon immer ein Taktgeber für den europäischen Kontinent. Ich erinnere an die Diskussion um die Marktöffnung und die Privatisierung von British Telecom. Und ich erinnere auch an, oder besser gesagt, ich erwähne auch Tech City, dieses wunderbare Modellprojekt für Startups, was heute weit über den Raum London hinausreicht und sich auf ganz England, ganz Großbritannien ausdehnt. Also da können wir von lernen und ich glaube, wir haben da auch in einigen Bereichen von gelernt. Es ist deshalb schön, dass Großbritannien das Partnerland auf der diesjährigen CeBIT ist. Es sind mehr als 70 britische Aussteller, die hier auf der Messe aktiv sind. Und wenn ich eingangs sagte, eine solche Messe dient auch dazu, miteinander zu reden und sich auszutauschen und Erfahrungen zu teilen, voneinander zu lernen, dann meine ich nicht nur, dass Deutschland von dem enormen Entwicklungspotenzial und der Agilität Großbritanniens lernen kann, sondern ich würde auch anregen, dass Großbritannien vielleicht von den Diskussionen in Deutschland um den Datenschutz und um die Datensicherheit lernt. Da ist die Bevölkerung in Deutschland sicherlich ganz anders aufgestellt als die Bevölkerung in Großbritannien. Diese Fülle von Videokameras, wie man sie in London City findet, wäre in Deutschland völlig unvorstellbar. Es gäbe enorme Proteste. Das könnten wir politisch gar nicht machen. Das führt aber umgekehrt auch dazu, dass wir uns in Deutschland in dem Bereich Datensicherheit, sichere Verarbeitung von Daten und auch sichere Speicherung von Daten, glaube ich, wenigstens ganz gut profiliert haben. Und ich denke, dieses Geschäftspotenzial, was auch darin steckt, ist ein Thema, was wir auch ganz gut teilen könnten und wo wir uns auch für die Zukunft gut aufstellen können. Ein anderes Thema, wo wir beide gemeinsam weitergehen wollen, haben quasi unsere Chefs, Lord Livingston, gestern Abend beschlossen. Angela Merkel und David Cameron haben uns beauftragt, dass wir uns für die digitale Agenda auf europäischer Ebene besser einsetzen. Nelly Kroes hat da gestern Abend ganze Arbeit geleistet, muss man sagen. Wir haben jetzt den Auftrag zu sehen, was wir da machen können. Ich habe gerade gehört im Reingehen, dass Sie schon einen Entwurf vorgelegt haben für einen Text. Wir werden da morgen drauf schauen und gucken, ob wir das so mittragen können oder was es noch für Veränderungen bedarf. Aber das Ziel, gemeinsam zu sehen, dass wir im europäischen Raum auch unseren Vorstellungen von einer guten, schnellen und sicheren Informationstechnologie nachkommen, das teilen wir. Deswegen glaube ich auch, dass es uns weiter gelingen wird, den Innovationsrückstand, den Europa gegenüber den USA und Japan und in Teilen auch Chinas hat, zu beheben. Und unsere Innovationskraft, die wir zweifelsohne haben, gerade in dem Bereich der Technologie, der Industrie 4.0, das nach vorne zu bringen und da noch besser zu werden. Ich freue mich deshalb, dass wir uns hier kennengelernt haben. Ich hoffe, dass sich daraus noch viele fruchtvolle, sagt man fruitful, Gespräche ergeben werden auf europäischer Ebene und vielleicht auch bei einem Besuch. Wenigstens würde ich gerne mal nach London kommen und würde mir Ihr Modell, liebe Frau Shields, für die Start-ups in London mal genauer angucken. Das fände ich doch mal spannend nach alledem, was ich hier kennengelernt habe auf der Messe von der Innovationskraft Ihrer Start-ups in Großbritannien. Also allen noch eine gute Zeit auf der CeBIT und nicht nur für die Deutschen, sondern auch für die Aussteller aus Großbritannien wünsche ich gute Geschäfte.
Thank you. Dankeschön, State Secretary. And I think we're all very interested in the perspective you bring, particularly in data privacy, but also Industry 4.0. My organization is already working with companies in the UK around that agenda. It's a really exciting opportunity to learn from what is clearly a great initiative here. And as far as invitations to London go, I think you're going to get quite a few coming up. In fact, you might even get one straight away, because I'm about now to introduce my Minister, Minister for Trade and Investment UK, Lord Ian Livingstone. And Ian, to the British tech industry needs no introduction, because he ran the BT Group in a period of unparalleled success and transformation, bringing it into a number of areas of great importance for our industry. But he has a long history behind that before he got to that job, and we're delighted to have him as our Minister of State for Trade and Investment, which he was asked to do recently. So, Lord Livingston, please.
Thank you. And indeed, Minister, nothing would give me greater pleasure than to welcome you to London. We will show you Tech City and welcome you across London. We'd be delighted. So please, I look forward to welcoming you to London. Professor Kemp, thank you for your words, and distinguished guests. It is great pleasure to be here. As was said, I have a background in technology. A dozen years in BT, another 10 before that at one of Europe's largest consumer electronics retailers. I've seen a lot of old friends here over the course of today, and seen a lot of companies I know. So I'm delighted to be back on the tech roundabout, as it were. I would just like to, first of all, start by saying a few words about the incredibly important relationship between the UK and Germany. The UK is very proud, not just pleased, but proud to be the partner at CeBIT. But there's a long and deep connection to the past. In fact, as was mentioned last night, in 1947, there's an army barracks just along from here, one of the oldest buildings on the campus, where the British Army was, and the suggestion came, why doesn't Hanover consider having a trade fair? Well, as they say, the rest was very much history. But our bond is far greater than that. Germany is the UK's second largest export market. We're delighted that we are Germany's largest trading partner. As the Prime Minister said today, it was with delight we overtook France in that particular last year. And we look forward to increasing that lead. But also the relationship is about investment. There are a massive number of German companies invested in the UK and vice versa. 600,000 people are employed between our two countries, and it shows the impact of German investment. And that is continuing. Just recently, there was an announcement by Siemens and also by Volkswagen for further investment. So we're delighted that the Bentley SUV, whilst not so much in the ICT sector, but we're delighted it's going to be built in Crewe. And also it goes beyond business. It goes to academia. So we recently announced a 5G partnership between King's College London, Surrey University and the University of Dresden, the UK and Germany working together to put Europe at the forefront of this new technology. So I want to first of all thank all of you on the UK and German side for your commitment, not just to your countries, but to each other's countries. It is that makes the relationship so strong. And as, of course, you heard last night and you've heard repeatedly, this year is an important year. It's the 300th anniversary since the union of the House of Hanover and the British Crown. As, in fact, was expressed to me today more than once, that was the time that Hanover ran the UK. And that's a good one. And in fact, when it was mentioned last night, I looked at the front row of all the speakers who were speaking last night at the opening ceremony, and almost every single one of them, when the first speaker mentioned it, took out their pen and started crossing through a bit of their speech. So I thought, well, I'm not going to mention it too much again. I'll try for a better anniversary. And I've got one for you. And I have to thank my UKTI team for this. 171 years to this very day, Wilhelm Siemens left Hanover and came to the UK. And he set up the German branch of Siemens, which became a big and flourishing company in the UK. He actually didn't keep the name Carl William Siemens. He eventually became Sir William Siemens. He married a British lady. In fact, his brother-in-law was from Glasgow, I'm glad to say. And I'm told that his journey to the UK cost the princely sum of £1. So it just shows EasyJet was actually functioning even in those days. But that's really history. Let's talk a little bit about current and future. You can see the evidence of the links today. I mean, at the beginning today, we went to Vodafone. The Prime Minister and myself went to see Vodafone, a company that is one of the UK's biggest companies, but its biggest market is actually in Germany and has a long and deep history with Germany. Also, you'll hear later from Software AG and T-Systems, who are significant investors in the UK, and we are very pleased that they are. And on the other hand, from Sophos and Unruly Media, who both have significant operations in Germany. In fact, Sophos said that Germany is their biggest market and a significant proportion of their operations. CeBIT is a fantastic trade show. It's a world-renowned. It's about the only place where you can see the best of technology at one time in one place. And as a partner country, the UK is able to show its innovative firms to a global audience. And the scale of opportunity is absolutely enormous. To put it in context, already in the UK, the ICT sector accounts for around 8% of GDP. It provides 1.3 million jobs, and both of these numbers are growing. Technology has been a catalyst for growth, and there are industries we haven't yet thought of, some of whom may even just be very small exhibitors today, that will drive our growth and our employment in the future. In fact, that is one of the reasons we are highlighting so many small companies at the UK stands. And the UK government is committed to ensuring that innovative businesses, with inspiration and some determination, can continue to take the risks they need to succeed. So we are doing a number of things to help them. First of all, we have a program called Sirius, where we are encouraging the best entrepreneurs around the world to come and set up their businesses in the UK. If they're from outside the EU, they get a visa. We also give them enough to fund effectively their life for a year, so they can see. And that's a contest we've had that's created a huge number of different businesses coming to the UK. We're also committed to keeping down red tape. It is estimated that red tape costs a small business 10 times more per employee than a big business. I come from a background of big business, and it's sort of easy for us. We can have a department for every regulation, whether it comes from the UK government or from the EU. Small companies do not have that luxury, and we have to remember it. And on the subject of EU, it is too often that the UK is described in what it doesn't want. I would really like to talk about what we're for. And what the UK is very much for in terms of the EU is a focus on growth, a focus on competitiveness, a focus on completing the single market, the digital single market, the services single market. These are critical to the future growth and prosperity of the UK. We are also for something that is espoused hugely in the hall out there. We are for trade. We're for free trade, so we're for TTIP. We are for free trade with Japan, with India, with Pacific Alliance, with all countries, because that is going to lead to greater growth and prosperity. And if I may, can I just do a small advert for the UK? We are very much, as a country, open for business. We feel that despite all the issues that happen, business is the best route for prosperity. So we've committed to keeping the corporate tax rate down. It will be down to 20% shortly, an even lower rate for where you try and exploit patents. These tax implicate and also the other things for doing business have had an effect. We are ranked by Ernst & Young as the #1 place for inward investment across all of Europe. We're the easiest place to do business in the EU and the G8 according to the World Bank. And we have more European headquarters than any other country. But it's not just in big companies, it's in small companies. We're one of the world's leading centres for music, for games, and as the Oscar shows, the film industry and broadcasting. We also have 4 of the world's leading universities that are close to London: Cambridge, Oxford, UCL and Imperial. These centres, combined with business, can create great innovation. And outside, we actually have academics displaying, showing what we can do. But we feel that whilst these things are good, they're not enough. So I'm very pleased that we have decided to announce today a new organisation called the Innovation Gateway. And what the purpose of the Innovation Gateway is to provide a front door for UK innovation, to support international partners, to make opportunities of the investment that's available in the UK. So we bring together the money and the ideas in the same place. It will, and its intention is, to be the gateway to access all UK innovation. This organisation in particular will concentrate in what in the UK we've termed the 8 great technologies. A lot of them are shown outside and a lot of them are represented in the hallway. Something the UK said, and you'll see it last night, we said it and we'll keep on saying it. Innovation is great. It's great for showcasing fantastic UK companies, for universities and the wider innovation system. For example, we had a competition to actually display here, and many of the companies, the small companies you'll see in the UK stand, actually were competition winners, and they came here as a result of it. The theme at this conference, as the Minister said, is datability. I'm not quite sure that was an English word before, but it may well have become so. And what is it? It's the sustainable use of big data, and we feel this is an area where the UK has great expertise. The UK has allocated over €200 million to the development of our big data and data infrastructure. And we estimate that big data will create 58,000 jobs by 2017. In February, we announced new funding for 55 big data projects to drive research in bioinformatics. This research will help solve the really big problems that we have as societies in areas such as weather risk, transport, obesity, environment, and of course how to find parking spaces as well, which in London is certainly one of our big problems. We have many companies here who can show you what they can do, not just in the area of the analytics and production of big data, but also the infrastructure needed. For instance, like Maxler, which can shown it can handle massive amounts of data at record speed and a fraction of our energy costs, reminding us sustainability and technology come hand in hand. We also have the Open Data Institute, who are here at CeBIT in Hall 9. Please go and visit them. And it's the first organisation of its kind tasked with demonstrating the commercial value of open data. And whilst on the subject of open data, I want to pick up a comment made about data protection. We understand that data protection is a particularly significant issue in Germany. It is a significant issue across Europe and in the UK. And it is important. We have to respect people's privacy and we have to keep data protected. But we also have to remember the benefits that come from a connected world and from big data. And we have to ensure in protecting privacy, we also do not let Europe fall behind in what is going to be a vastly important field for all of our economies. So you will hear later from Joanna Shields, Britain's Business Ambassador for Digital Industries, and she'll speak about Tech City and the 11 digital clusters that we've helped foster in the UK. I also encourage you to add your voice to a fantastic programme of thought leadership seminars we have in the House of Nations, and to visit the UK stands in Hall 9 and Hall 6, please make a note of it, to see the sort of innovative companies we have. This fair is a wonderful thing. We are delighted to be with it. It highlights two so very, very important things. On one hand, the UK's innovation capability, but on the other hand, our very close and growing partnership with our German friends. We are delighted and proud of both of them. And I just will end by again thanking our German hosts, but also wishing you an enjoyable, and I would say even more, a highly successful CeBIT 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Well, thank you very much, Minister Livingston, and thank you, State Secretary, for your contribution today. We're now moving to the second section of our agenda this afternoon. And I think we're going to come back to a number of the points that were made both by the State Secretary and the Minister, and also referencing back to Prime Minister Cameron and Chancellor Merkel earlier in today and yesterday. And we're also, I think, going to pick up very much on the points made by Professor Kempf in his speech and also speech yesterday. But let me get us moving now into the next bit of the agenda. And let me start by just saying something about Tech UK, and you're going to hear in a little while about Tech City from Joanna. But Tech UK is the equivalent of Bitcom in the UK, with a national trade association for the digital technology industry. And we have 850 members and a network of 5,000 small companies in electronic systems. And our job and what we believe in is exactly what we've heard earlier today, which is the role of technology to ensure jobs and growth in the future in the UK. And that means we need to be a leader in both the development of technology and also in its use in business and in our citizens. So what do we focus on as a trade association? So the first thing, and thank you very much, Lord Livingston, for making this point, we're very focused on trade. We're very focused in particular on incoming investment into the UK from international companies and exports from the UK by British-based companies. And in fact, we're partnering with our colleagues at UKTI this year to help 1,000 more UK SME tech companies to export and grow. The second thing that we're focused on is enabling the digital economy with the right infrastructure. And again, you heard from Minister Livingston, the government is very focused on this, doing a lot of things. And they asked us as an organisation to set up a spectrum policy forum. So not just the technology that's going to be required for 4G, 5G and beyond, but also the policy framework. What do we want spectrum for, and how are we going to manage it going forward? The next area is that we're focused on making that digital economy, that digital country, a safe place to operate. And we've heard about data protection, data privacy. That will come up, I think, in our panel session later, very much so. But we're also very focused on cyber security, preventing cyber crime. We've actually said, in conjunction with the government, we're going to work to eliminate cyber crime in the UK. I know that's an unrealistic expectation, but it is very much a direction we want to go in. And lastly, we want to focus on skills, and we've committed ourselves to work with the young people, the 8, 9 and 10-year-olds in the UK, to teach them coding skills and the technical skills they need. And we are, I'm delighted to say, working with the government in a new council aimed at an industrial strategy for the tech sector. And that's driven by the fact that we've heard already from the State Secretary how big the UK digital tech sector is, and thank you very much for those compliments. But we actually think it's probably even bigger. We think that there are something around 250,000 digital tech companies in the UK, most of them very small and spread all over the UK. And so we look forward to being able to work with Germany and to take that hotbed of innovation and small companies, and as the Prime Minister and the Chancellor said, combine those two so that we actually have all of that innovation, all of that excellence, combined with a proven track record of the sort of things that we hear of in Industry 4.0. There is, of course, still competition between us, but competition is a good thing. So at some point, we'll find out which is the most successful hub. Is it London? Is it Berlin? I'm hoping we'll find that out by the end of today. I'll tell you more about that later. But in the meantime, before I introduce our next speaker, I would like just to run a video which will illustrate something of that breadth of tech activity that the Minister referred to, and which Joanna, I'm sure, is going to talk more of, and which is the core of our membership in Tech UK. Perhaps we can have that video, please.
The opportunity in technology now is greater than it's ever been.
Tech City is here to catalyze and accelerate co-creating solutions and services.
Really an example of how the tech community comes together around London, but also across the country.
Cardiff has a great creative community.
Sharing ideas and best practices.
Welsh Government support technology. They support innovation.
World-class universities here who are churning out great graduates.
And it's just a very vibrant scene.
You don't have to leave the beach to go and find great places to work.
There's a real mentality here of breaking the rules to succeed.
People in the know that Cambridge do big things.
Nobody's got the kind of technology we have.
This is where some of the first computers were built. This is where DNA was discovered.
Really bright developers.
Living in Cambridge, looking for interesting new things. It's a fantastic place to base yourself and for your employees to base themselves.
We have this incredible legacy in Belfast of invention.
We're quite unique in terms of what we do.
Momentum and a real excitement.
It's right beside where this tank was built. It's a great location to be based.
There's a real spirit of collaboration.
The most experienced, helping the emerging talent.
Edinburgh has been an absolutely brilliant place to grow a company.
There are a lot of young entrepreneurs here.
It punches well above its weight. Just energy and excitement.
This is the sort of place where anything could happen. This is the future here.
The Bristol and Bath Science Park is a hub for entrepreneurs
to learn from one another's different disciplines.
To make lots of really interesting products.
Lots of companies have actually got their global headquarters here.
So the BBC is here, Aardman is here, with HP, with Toshiba, with IBM.
The aerospace industry in the UK is the second largest in the world. The quality of engineers is as high, if not higher, than it is in the States.
Newcastle it's a great place to live.
In a really nice, friendly little city.
The vibe here is fantastic. This huge, vibrant environment. Newcastle's just great. There is everything that we need to create and build a business.
You can find a lot of really good talent in Brighton.
And this is a fantastic location to set up a startup.
People work together to benefit each other and doing interesting, creative things.
Creativity is always going to be at the absolute core.
The Sharp Project is a creative space.
Great opportunities for collaborative work.
There's a rich source of talent and it's keen.
Clients love it because they can come to one place.
It's got everything.
It's a really exciting time to be starting a business in the UK.
We are so far ahead in this country.
We're one of the best kept secrets.
There's so much opportunity at so many different levels.
Making Britain very much a competitive nation.
There's a lot going for businesses here.
The world is our oyster.
Nothing less.
So, let me introduce our next speaker, Joanna Shields, the chairman of Tech City UK, British Business Ambassador for the digital industries. And just to introduce Joanna, I almost feel I don't need to do this because in 2011, she was named number 1 on the Wired 100. And in 2013, she was named to the list of the 100 most powerful women in the United Kingdom by BBC Radio 4. In 2013, Computer Weekly named Joanna the most influential woman in UK IT. And why is that? Not just what she does now, but her heritage. Joanna has built some of the world's most recognizable and best-known technology companies, going from real networks through Google, Bebo, AOL, and obviously perhaps most well-known, Facebook. She is a dual US-UK citizen, relocated from Silicon Valley to London in 2000. So there's someone who made a choice and came to London. Maybe there's a clue there for what's going to happen when we try and work out Berlin or London, but who knows. I would like to ask Joanna, please, to come up and tell you a little bit about what's happening in the UK in her role as digital ambassador. Joanna.
Very much. Thank you. Well, thank you for the warm welcome that you've extended all of us in the British delegation. We're really grateful. It's been a really exciting, I guess, 16, 18 hours so far. I have to say, I've been to CeBIT before. My first time was back in 1989. I was a young product manager for a Silicon Valley company, and I got here, and the big buzz this year is about big data, and the big buzz then was about ISDN. Can you imagine? The other thing that was very different then is the weather was dreadful. I don't know what you've done. Maybe your technology's like come up to a certain stage where you've been able to stage this beautiful weather for us, so thank you for that. The buzz that was in the air then was that, you were able to transmit audio, video, and voice over, traditional, phone lines, which was extraordinary at the time. At the same time, that very month, not too far from here on the continent of Europe, a British computer scientist, Tim Berners-Lee, was writing a paper about sharing information and connecting all these digital devices. Now, you may know that he invented what is later referred to as the World Wide Web, an innovation which, has arguably, changed the way we live our lives and interact with each other. Well, today at CeBIT, I think the news is as exciting as it was back in 1989, but there's one difference. Well, actually, there's two differences. I already told you about the weather. But the one difference is the speed at which things are changing. And the waves of innovation and creative disruption that are transforming business and society are happening at an unprecedented pace. New ideas can go from concept to reality in weeks, not years. I mean, it used to be we had Moore's Law. You remember Moore's Law? Well, now you've got a business that launches from a bedroom and it goes global on the next day. It's absolutely extraordinary, the possibilities for that. Well, over the past 18 months, I've been working as the UK's digital ambassador and chairman of Tech City, and I've had this incredible privilege to meet thousands of entrepreneurs, those people who are creating the great technology businesses that you've heard about here today. Not just engineers and computer scientists, this is an important point, but innovators from all walks of life who are doing what they're doing now because of the digital revolution. Let's see here. Oops. There we go. So the well-known, excuse me, it's going a little fast there. The well-known social scientist Clay Shirky said it best. He noted that a revolution doesn't happen when society adopts new tools. A revolution happens when society adopts new behaviors. I could not have said it better. A new generation of business builders and entrepreneurs in the UK and all across Europe are using technologies to reinvent and reimagine every industry around us, and in the process, the way we live, work, and play. And the beauty of disruptive innovation is, of course, no one has exclusivity over it. We've heard from a lot of people here today and last evening who are passionate about creating this startup culture in Europe. And I really have to recognize one person in particular, and I don't know if she's here, but Vice President of the European Commission, Neelie Kroes, has been an incredible partner of mine in the work of trying to create the conditions for entrepreneurship to grow and thrive in Europe, and I'm incredibly grateful to her. But the beauty of disruptive innovation, as I said, is it's not that, one person can do it or one country is better at it than anyone else. In fact, I think there's been a leveling, a great democratization of the potential that technology has given all of us. And I really believe that now's the time when pockets around universities and knowledge centers and around, big cities across Europe can really be where the next big ideas will come from. So it can come from a dorm room at a university, which we've all heard about, or a garage somewhere in the world. But it can also come from a husband and wife who decide to open an online business. If you consider Ruth Chapman and her husband Tom, they built a successful string of boutiques on the high street. But after 20 years of trading traditionally, they reinvented their entire business, embraced online and e-commerce, and now have become a global fashion powerhouse. Or consider Michael Acton Smith. He had a very successful career as an investment banker at Goldman Sachs. But he left that career and he created a company called Mind Candy. Now they created something, I don't know if any of you have little kids, but they created something called Moshi Monsters. It's a new breed of entertainment company that allows kids to adopt a monster and take part in online games and adventures. These little monsters come alive for hundreds of millions of kids. Now, I said hundreds of millions of kids around the world who take them to the farthest boundaries of their creativity and imagination. Or consider Jay Bregman. Jay was saying, well, why is it so difficult to find a taxi in London? And then you see taxis when you don't need a taxi that are empty. So he said, I'm going to connect supply with demand. He formed a company called Halo with a number of taxi drivers, some experts in the field. And now you can get a taxi in London in an average of 2 minutes. Another great and exciting company that's operating in Tech City is called eToro. Now, what eToro is, the founder, Yoni Asia, built the world's first social investment network with over 3 million users who can watch, follow, and automatically copy the investments of other users on the network. Now, what eToro is doing is crowdsourcing knowledge and information for people all over the world who want to invest and participate in global financial markets. So, in many parts of the world, you were never able to invest in a retail way before, and now eToro has enabled that. Or consider Alistair Mitchell and Andy McLaughlin at Huddle, whose collaboration solutions are being used by 100,000 enterprises around the world. In the process, they've completely changed the way we look at coordinating work between people and organizations. Or Ning Lee, who turned the tables on the interiors business through his Made.com website. Made connects new and innovative designers with buyers all over the world, pulling your interest in a timely basis, delivering buyers genuine articles at remarkable prices. Or Darren Disley and Chris Torrance in Cambridge, who founded a company called Horizon Discovery. This extraordinary business is mapping the human genome in advance of the dawn of personalized medicine and genome editing. Now, what all these great businesses have in common is they prove that creativity and ideas and a fresh perspective to see the world in different ways is the new competitive edge. And all these entrepreneurs and successful businesses they represent are proof that innovation is happening all across the UK, and technology is a potent force for economic growth. In fact, these companies form a special group of companies we call the Future 50. The Future 50 is a business acceleration program created to support the fastest growing businesses on their journey all the way to the public markets. Future 50 connects them with whatever support they need in government and private sector to build and grow and scale their businesses in the UK and also globally. And today, the digital economy is contributing 27% of all job growth in the UK. And in fact, technology and digital businesses have led our economic recovery. Now, government, too, is harnessing the power of disruptive technology and innovation. This winter, I don't know if you know this, but this winter in the UK, we experienced the worst floods in the country that we've had in 250 years. So working with our partners at the Open Data Institute and the Government Digital Service, we called an emergency meeting at number 10 Downing Street, the seat of the government, with the Downing Street policy team. And we said, what on earth can we do? We've got to be able to do something because it was an absolute crisis. So we called in a lot of technology companies and we said, let's have a hackathon. Now, this was a Friday afternoon and it was Valentine's Day. So by 10 o'clock that night, we'd sent out invitations far and wide on Twitter and every other social network we could use and find. And by Sunday morning, we had 200 developers show up at Google campus to give their time and energy on their day off on a holiday weekend to help come together and work with the Open Data Institute, to work with the Environmental Agency, and to develop solutions that will help people instantly. So by the end of that day, with all this collaboration that came together, we had 12 different applications to support flood victims. Everything from, helping people, find access to food, shelter, clothing, to actually connecting them with volunteers who could really help them instantly. It's been an absolute extraordinary example of, what it means to use open data in this way. This is a process that, traditionally is a top-down crisis management situation. But this open and collaborative process provided the knowledge and tools that developers needed to come up with innovative solutions that made a difference in people's lives. Could you show the video, please?
So over the last 2-3 months, we've had some of the worst flooding in recorded history here in the UK. What today is about is bringing together over 200 developers to help find a solution to this problem.
So many people and parties and companies have come together to make this possible.
Everyone here has come together to try and build applications that can benefit flood victims or to help emergency services get access to the people who need it.
What we've been trying to do is understand what data sources that the government have that might be useful in creating ways in which people could access information.
So that's everything from food to petrol to finding shelter.
And it kind of unleashes the creativity of hundreds of people with the potential to help many, many thousands in a very short time period.
In less than a day, there'll be applications here which can actually go out and benefit these people straight away.
And what's really remarkable about this particular event is that this was organised 2 days ago.
We had an emergency meeting and we brought in tech companies from around the country and we asked them, what can you do to help victims of the flood? And what came out of that meeting at number 10 was that we decided to have a hackathon here in Tech City.
I've never seen a response like the Flood Hack event.
Within 24 hours, we got over 200 sign-ups. We felt like that there was a real purpose here.
Opening up the data to everyone and allowing all these other developers to build apps based on that data is a good thing.
The more data that the government can release, the more innovation will occur.
It's the creativity and the innovation that comes out of events like this that really enables us to break the boundaries of what we can do with the data and how useful it is for people.
By opening up the data and giving it to developers and saying, you know, be creative, you can really surface some amazing things that you would never have thought of otherwise.
That leads on to other ways of working in the future.
I think it's just been extraordinary. It's fantastic to see the outpouring of support, the creativity, the energy that's been in this room. All this stuff will hopefully come to fruition and assist people who really are in need of assistance.
The community was really in action. It's initiatives like this, it's events like this that strengthen the community so much more.
All of what you're seeing around here is pure innovation. And innovation is what drives this country and it's what drives economic growth.
I see this becoming a more regular thing, that people in the tech community come together for social good.
The next time that we get hit with a national disaster like this one, we'll be much better prepared, and the solutions will be out there and will be common enough for people to know how to ask for help, get help, avoid, damaged areas, etc.
Thank you. What this proves is technology, and specifically open data, can be an incredibly potent force for good. And when government is open and transparent, and we collaborate more with each other, we all benefit. Technology combined with the right people and the right policy and a passion for innovation is the only way forward. As the Prime Minister said last night in his remarks, we want to make progress through technology together. He said we want to work together in turning our countries and Europe as a whole into hotbeds of innovation, into places where the next big thing can come from. We want entrepreneurs to feel like they can turn their dreams into reality right here at home. We've come a long way in the 25 years that I've been involved in the tech industry and our time here at CeBIT. But the challenge now is to ensure that our position in the digital future is secure. We need to ensure the next generation of entrepreneurs will imagine, start, and grow their businesses in Europe and in the UK. Thank you very much.
Joanna, good job. Thank you. Thank you very much, Joanna. So, I like that idea that to get us closer to the Californian model, we actually start with the weather. And we introduce Californian weather throughout, including the rainstorms, so they do still have those in California. Okay, the last part of our agenda today, we're actually going to engage in a discussion with a panel and also with you, the audience, and maybe even with some of the online audience. And I'd like to invite my panel, please, to come up and join me on the stage, and then I'll introduce you to them. So, all the panel, please. Thank you.